2013. I'll call the weekly Logansport Board of Works and Safety meeting to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call. Carol Sue, please.
Mayor Franklin.
Here.
Ron Miller.
Present.
Chris Armstrong.
Here.
Approval of minutes.
I've read them. I would make a motion for the approval of the May 29, 2013 minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. We have quiet back there, please. Approval of claims in the amount of $339,101.72.
I've read the claims, and I would make a motion for the approval of the claims in the amount of $339,101.72 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of licenses. We have several for consideration today. I'll read the names and ask that we approve these as one group. The names are Chris Crum, Mike Wills, Joshua Knight, David Small, Anthony Carmichael, Scott Razor, Randy Michael, William J. Moore, Brian Flora, Daniel Gingrich, Todd Perry, and Curtis Skiles.
I would make a motion that we approve the license applications as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes on a vote of 3-0. Are there any visitor comments? All right, hearing none. Old business. This will be code enforcement, I believe. Alfonso Perez, 516 East Linden.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
This has proven to be a very difficult property. If you remember correctly, in my conversation with Chris this morning, she recalled it. Last time he was here, he showed up late. He has hired counsel of Andrew Aki. I talked with Andrew Aki this morning through several text messages. Mr. Perez has had no contact with Andrew in quite a while now. He's not sure what's going on with him. Bill Drinkwine had talked with Mr. Aki a while back, and Mr. Aki had indicated that he was going to ask for a continuance till July on this property. However, he's not talked with Mr. Perez, like I said, in quite some time now. I'm not quite sure what the action the board's going to want to take on this. This is the one that's in violation of the ordinance for the fence.
Has he been properly served?
Yes, he
Do you have
has.
documentation and photographs?
Yes.
Do you have them with you?
No, I don't have them with me.
Can you go get them?
Yes.
Okay. We'll go on and we'll come back to old business. We'll go on to new business in the meantime. We have a dumpster request, Martin Sebastian, 913 Race Street, to clean out a house. I think you have the map in front of you. It looks pretty standard. Bill, did this go through your office?
Yes.
And it looks like the dumpster won't even be located on the street. Is that correct?
That is correct. I think it was forwarded in Ann Williams' office as well.
Okay. I would make the motion that we approve the dumpster request requested by Martin Sebastian for 913 Race Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Another dumpster request, Cesar Reyes, 511 King Street, remodel request. For a remodel. I'm sorry, that was another one. Dumpster request, 511 King Street for a remodel. It appears as if this one will sit on the street. I know I'm very familiar with Spencer Street. I see no problems with it. Is there any discussion?
Make a motion that we approve the dumpster request from Mr. Reyes.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded to approve the dumpster request for Mr. Reyes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, it passes on a vote of 3-0. Request by city clerk treasurer for city auction. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. This is something we do every year. Recovered bicycles, other equipment that's no longer needed is declared surplus by various city departments, and then offered for auction. The auction is being proposed for Saturday, June 22nd, at the rear of the city building. I would make the motion that we approve the request by the clerk treasurer to hold the auction.
I would second that.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Reports. How about building commissioner?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I provided a copy of my weekly report for your review. If you have any comments to that report directly, we can discuss those.
So are you aware of any way to, any procedure for removing or vacating utility lines from poles? Is it entirely up to the utility company, in this case Comcast? Does the city have any direct influence in being able to get them to remove their wires from a pole?
No, that is usually directed by LMU, because LMU physically owns the pole, so the agreement for any material that's on the pole is controlled by LMU.
Okay.
If we find a situation, we typically would go to LMU with that situation and request their assistance in reacting to the situation.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any idea when the parking lot will be finished for the Mike Anderson project?
No definitive day. They're currently working on it. They've got to interface some asphalt removal for new light pole bases and whatnot, what they're working on now. Monday I talked to one of the fellows down there, and he thought within a week to 10 days, depending on weather.
Okay.
I will note that Jay's Food Mart did finally open, so that project has been completed and they're in operation.
Do we have a further update on 208 South 6th Street?
Yes, on 208 South 6th Street, at this time I'm again asking for continuance to a resolution on the property. We have called a joint meeting between the city, Community Development Director and the city attorney and the owners of the two adjoining properties there. I've issued them letters and met with each one of them, explained what our desire is. I've recommended they bring some representation with them to the meeting on the 17th of June to discuss the options that we see on the properties. Mm-hmm. It's an impossibility not to affect or impact those property owners as well, no matter the direction that the city's going to recommend to do. Mm-hmm. So it's something we're asking their assistance with.
I would request that you also invite the Tax Increment Finance or the Redevelopment Commission as well, so that they can sit in on this meeting. I think that's certainly a project that may qualify for them.
Bill, what time is that meeting?
10 o'clock, 10 a.m. in the morning currently. We have one individual that still has yet to confirm on the 17th, but I think we're going to be okay. But if we have to move it, we'll end up moving it until a July 1 date, because Virginia Cook, the owner of the Townhouse Beauty, is out of town from the 18th for 10 days.
Thank you.
What's going on with 404 Howard Street?
I have been unable to locate the owner of the property, and we're still searching for that property owner. It's kind of confounding a little bit because he has been mowing. And I stopped yesterday and talked to the neighbor on the west and also the neighbor to the north and gave them my card and said, if you see him come and mow, please call me. I don't care what day it is, just call me and I'll come over and talk to the man.
Okay.
So we're still searching.
Any questions for Building Commissioner?
No.
I make the motion that we approve the Building Commissioner's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Superintendent of Public Works.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I respectfully submit my report. Hopefully you have it in front of you. If you have time, go through, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Where was the piece of art that you set?
In front of Security Federal, it was the one that they had picked up last year, and we just got around to doing it right where their sign is
Okay,
on Market Street.
okay, thank you.
The storms, did they create a lot more work for you? Trees down?
Yes, they did, but we're able to get a hold on it, and a lot of people are tearing bushes out, and it's been very busy, but our guys are we actually offered them overtime, and they got it done. They didn't want to work overtime, believe it or not, so very happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, and I compliment your staff at the street department as well. It seems like cemetery gets a lot of kudos, but the street department is oftentimes the unsung heroes, and those guys are busy. I appreciate the work they do. Cemetery, of course, still looking good. It looks like May was a relatively busy month, 13 interments, 64 so far for the year. So, questions regarding the cemetery department?
Hearing none, I make a motion for the approval of Superintendent of Public Works report.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank
Passes
you.
Thank you. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Let's go back to old business, the 516 East Linden. Okay. And how old are these photos? 212. Okay.
Well, those aren't the most recent photos, but they haven't changed, it hasn't changed any since then.
Okay.
You can see he's in violation. Privacy fence, if you look at the picture that's got the siding on it, that was originally built as a privacy fence, and then he put siding over it. The ordinance states that a privacy fence must not impede the airflow of the neighbors. After he built the privacy fence, he attached a roof over them. You can see in some of the other pictures, blue tarps hanging up, and he's converted them into sheds. At one point, he was operating a repair business out of there, and he has since stopped doing that. He's moved all the vehicles to property he's bought over on West Melbourne. This has been going on, like I said, since December. I won't say that he's been uncooperative, but he's not been cooperative neither. And when I say that, he's not been the type to jump up and down, yell and scream. He seems to have done enough in the past, just right on the edge, to keep us from going over, cleaning it up. The original pictures, I'll show you the original pictures, taken in December, on December 7th.
Does Mr. Aki still claim to represent him?
Mr. Aki did not know what his status was. He was going to try to contact him, but Mr. Aki, at this point, all he told me was, I have not heard anything from him in a very long time now.
That makes sense to me.
Bill just pointed out to me and suggested that I tell you guys we did meet on site a few months ago with Mr. Aki and Mr. Perez, and we gave him a copy of the code and explained to him face-to-face what he was in violation of, and he seemed to understand. Mr. Aki had indicated that he was going to do a follow-up letter to Mr. Perez, explaining to him what he needed to do to come into...
Did he do that follow-up letter?
I am only assuming he did. I'm not.
Okay, so we don't know.
He didn't
Okay.
courtesy copy me a letter, or copy no.
Okay. I'm going to make the motion that we take this under advisement for one more week. We give our legal team time to research it and also involve the planning department, zoning administrator. It appears to be a number of different violations here, not only the property maintenance ordinance, but also some planning and zoning issues, and come back for next Wednesday's Board of Works meeting.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll have some answers by then. Does that sound okay to the city attorney?
Yes.
Okay, we have one more week to research it, so.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded to take this under advisement for one more week, at which point in time we will take action one way or another. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. 516 East Linden is taken under advisement for one more week. 208 South 6th Street. I think
That's not mine.
Bill has already addressed that with us, and as well as 404 Howard Street. 801 Helm Street.
801 Helm Street, I'm going to recommend that we lift that. He has made progress on it to the point that it's satisfactory now.
And make the motion that we lift any pending action regarding 801 Helm Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Okay, Code Enforcement Officer, your report in its entirety. You're up now.
You have in front of you a copy of my weekly report. I present it for you for approval. I have no new people scheduled to appear today.
Okay. And it looks like notices sent totally 370, 478, over 800 so far for the year, and trash, abandoned vehicles, and weeds and mowing. So I'm sure you're quite busy. I know you're putting in a good effort, and I appreciate that. Are there any questions for Code Enforcement Officer?
No.
I'd make the motion that we approve the Code Enforcement Officer's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Are there any board member comments?
None.
No.
Is there any miscellaneous business, including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns, and any matters not already considered? Mr. Berkshire.
Just one moment, Your Honor. Respectful. Michael Berkshire, 528 Bate Street, Logansport, Indiana. I just want to make a comment, extending comments that were made at the City Council meeting Monday evening about the city living up to the standards that it sets out for the citizens of the city. I noticed a lot of fences up around dumpsters around town. I understand that's a new, well, it's not a new thing, but it's something that the Code Enforcement and Building Commissioner is enforcing more strictly. And I'd like to ask what the status is of putting fences up around city-owned dumpsters.
As you're aware, this is a relatively newly discovered law ordinance that went into place in 1980. We're still gathering information. We're not even sure where all the dumpsters are. We continue to explore. If you would, those of us inside, I think, recognize that we haven't been terribly aggressive yet in how we pursue this. We're still trying to gather information and interpretation. So I can't give you an answer, but
Okay.
We don't even know where they're all at yet.
Well, one's right outside the window here.
Yeah.
But I would just like to encourage the city to lead the way in this. If they're going to enforce these dumpsters regulations, I think they should be the first ones to comply with.
It certainly makes sense to me as well.
Okay? And city officials also.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Is there any other miscellaneous business, including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns, any matters not already considered? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you.